One of the things I love about the Volkswagen Golf is the attention to detail. For instance, look at this. The way the parking camera remains hidden behind the VW badge, and only when you put it into reverse does it pop out. Now the thing about that is it means that when you're driving along normally, it doesn't get covered in grime because it's covered up. But is the rest of this Golf quite so clever? Well, I'm going to tell you all in this review. I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching Car Wow. I'm going to start off this video by talking you through the design of the Volkswagen Golf. So it's had a midlife facelift. It's hard to tell the difference really. It's still got that kind of slightly, yeah, I've got a headache look about it. But the light designs are different. Let me show you the daytime running lights because that's the biggest difference. So turn on the car so you can see the DRLs. Actually less interesting than before. Now on certain trims you can get a light bar across the front, but not on this trim. This is the match, it's a sort of mid-level trim. Now Volkswagen have updated the lower bumper designs and you now have this area in the lower bumper which is for your self-driving tech. More on that in a bit, but really to most people it looks the same as before. Moving down the side, there are some new alloy wheel designs. They start at 16 inches, but these are optional upgraded 18 inches and they do look better. I can't really tell any differences to the previous car down the side. It looks like a Golf, so it's slightly boxy, but still reasonably well proportioned and attractive looking. Here at the rear, look, you can see the new tail lights, slightly different design. And yeah, other than that, not much difference than before, apart from a revised lower bumper, which, thank goodness, no longer incorporates fake exhaust pipes. Volkswagen has done away with those. In terms of the pricing, so the Golf range starts from £27,000, rising to 37, though you can save an average of £2,000 off one through Car Wow. This particular car is the match version with the 1.5 litre engine with 150 horsepower and an automatic gearbox, and it costs around £30,000 before options, and on this car there's about £2,000 worth of options on top of that. Here on the inside there are some more significant changes than on the outside. For instance, while the overall dash design is the same as it was before, you do get a new large infotainment screen and it's standard on all models. Plus, it's more responsive than the old system, though there's still a bit of lag to it occasionally. I do like the fact that you can actually mix and match these shortcut buttons, so you press that and then you can choose a different one at their finish, and now you've got a shortcut to that. And I've got the assist system up there at the top, so I can touch it quickly to then turn off the lane keeping assist and the speed limit warner and all that kind of stuff, like speed limit, turn off, go, yeah, turn all that off, because otherwise when you're driving along it just beeps and bongs at you. All cars also now get the digital driver's display as standard as well, and you can change different views for it. I tell you what I really like. We have physical buttons on the steering wheel like the Mark 7 Golf, because for the original Mark 8 they were touch sensitive buttons and they were a real pain to use. And a Golf is supposed to be super easy to live with. That's the whole point of a Volkswagen Golf. It does everything well, but that wasn't a good thing. They've gone back to good old-fashioned buttons. I just wish they'd gone back to good old-fashioned buttons for the climate control, but no, you have these sliders here to change the temperature. You have to double tap to do the seat. Got this slider here to do the volume control, and if you want to do the fan you press that button to bring up that, and then you have to press on the screen, which is not ideal. Can I have some buttons back for this please, Volkswagen? At least these slider things here are now backlit so you can see what you're pressing at night. Okay, let me talk about some other things. So quality wise, yeah, it's all right in here. Yeah, squidgy, feels solid. Yeah, damped controls and stalks, nice. Oh, that feels nice and golfy, as it should be. So I don't think this car's interior quality is leaps and bounds above the competition like it used to be way back in the past. You know, it's on a par with most cars really. It's nothing special, but it's nothing bad either. Anyhow, let's talk through storage. So under here, a little bit. Oh, and you can slide this forwards to extend the armrest, but then it does cover this part of the cup holder. Speaking of which, you do have an adjustable size cup holder. You press this button and it'll hold thinner bottles tighter. Just put that back like that. You've got a place there for your key next to the control for the gear selector, and you now have wireless charging as standard on all models. And you can see those vents there. It's because it blows cold air over your phone, so it doesn't overheat when you're charging it using wireless, though you can charge it quicker using these ports here, and more on those later. Here's another sign of quality, the damping on the glove box. And the glove box itself, the space you've got, is reasonable. Speaking of which, there are some huge door bins, and as you'd expect from a Volkswagen Golf, they are lined with felt to stop things rattling, and they're huge. You can fit a large bottle in there, and then another bottle as well. And probably some more other things to note. Look, we do have a decent sized vanity mirror, decent lighting for it as well. And overall, the seats are comfy and there's plenty of space here in the front, regardless of whether you're big or small. Here in the back of the Golf, headroom is good. Knee room is all right, but for taller people with longer legs, you will find it a little bit cramped. Still, the footwells are a decent size and you can stretch out a bit underneath the seat in front. There is a bit of a hump in the floor though, in the middle, so when you're carrying 3 people at once, you do need to straddle that. And to be fair, this car doesn't have the widest body, so if you have 3 adults in the back at once, it does feel like a bit of a squeeze. You've got some pockets there and these little pockets, which I think are for putting your mobile phone in. You also have decent sized door bins, look, you can fit a large bottle in those. And down here, there's a space for, I imagine that's where you can get 3-zone climate control, and there's a control for it there on higher spec models, but this one doesn't have it, so you have that. That's perfect. Great. Underneath there, you've got your USB-Cs. You have some cup holders there, which are a bit annoying because they remain exposed when you've got the armrest down, so it's not that comfy to use. Though you do have some through loading, which is good. And look, you can see here the ISOFIX anchor points are really easy to get to. In fact, when it comes to fitting a baby seat, the doors open wide enough so it's not a hassle getting the baby seat in or locating those ISOFIX anchor points. However, with the bulky rear-facing seat, you might have to push the front passenger seat forward a little bit to make room for that rear-facing seat. The Golf's boot capacity is 381 litres, which is slightly bigger than that of a Mercedes A-Class and a Toyota Corolla. However, pretty much every other hatchback in this category has a slightly larger boot. Still, the Golf's boot is nice and square, which makes it very usable. Plus, there's not much of a load lip to lift stuff over. And look at this, when you fold down the rear seats, there's no ridge, so it's also then easy to slide heavier things to the front like that. There are some other nice features as well. Hooks to hang things off, 12-volt charging socket, if I can just get the cover off there. And look at these little grippers there, so when you lift that up, holds it in place. And look underneath here, check that out. The load cover is stored underneath the false floor, though it is quite a tight fit. Let's see if I can get it out. Come on. Oh, there we go. And then you have some extra storage underneath here. However, if you get the hybrid version of this car, the batteries are kept underneath the boot floor here, so you lose some of this space. In fact, the boot capacity on the hybrid version of this car is about 100 litres less, so it's less than 300 litres. And that brings you on to 5 annoying things about this car. The car's voice assistant has ChatGPT integrated into it. To activate it, you have to call it by the name Ida. Hey Ida, tell me a rude limerick about the Volkswagen Golf.
Please say the address starting with the city.
Let's try that with proper ChatGPT. Tell me a rude limerick about the Volkswagen Golf. Okay, it's come back and it's quite rude. There once was a Golf smooth and tight, whose driver loved late night delight. He'd rev up its gears amid knowing cheers and ride it hard into the night. The rear windows do not go all the way down. I mean, they almost do. It's just a shame they didn't quite manage to make them go completely, so you can rest your arm on there without touching the sharp edge of the window. It's not sharp, but you know what I mean. It's not comfy that. The touch-sensitive buttons on here for the stereo controls and the heating get really smudgy. Can you see? Because the black plastic just marks it with fingerprints. Yeah. The front door bins actually extend all the way behind there. And the problem with that is that you put stuff in there, you accelerate, slides to the back, you forget about it, you go to check the door bins as you get out the car. There appears to be, look, nothing, there's nothing in there, right? And what you don't realise is that actually, all the way back there, your keys, and so you spend the entire evening hunting for them, not knowing that they were there all along. That hasn't happened to me, a friend told me about that. The definition of the reversing camera is really quite poor. It's like they're taking the camera from 2010. It's not all negative though. Here's 5 good things about this car. You can get 3 different suspension setups. There's normal, then there is a sport version which lowers the car by 15mm and you have uprated anti-roll bars and dampers. Then there's the off-road version which raises the suspension by 15mm and also includes some underbody protection. Also, unlike in the past where the smaller engine versions of the Golf used to get a basic rear suspension system, they now all get multi-link independent suspension for better handling and a smoother ride. You get adaptive cruise cruise control as standard, so that'll automatically steer to keep you in lane, and it will reduce the speed of the vehicle if there's cars slowing down in front of you, and it'll even like shunt you along in traffic. For instance, I actually have the cruise control engaged right now, and it thinks I'm in traffic. Well, it thinks that there's a motorbike parked in front of me. It's not, it's actually a human, but it's probably not expecting a human to be stood in the middle of the road like this. Actually, it's not a road, it's just a field. But you get the general idea, don't you? The USB-Cs have 45-watt charging capability, which means that you can actually charge a laptop now from the car. So if I plug this in, you will see, give me the little sign, there it is. You get ambient interior lighting as standard, and on high spec cars you get up to 30 different colours to choose from, and the colours are split between top and bottom part of the interior, so look, you can mix and match just as you like and just make it feel suitably ambient. Let's have it purple. You can get the Volkswagen Golf with a 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine with either 115 horsepower, no thank you, or 150 horsepower, which is what this car has. Or you can get a 2 litre diesel with 115 horsepower, no thank you, or 150 horsepower. They like to keep their numbers consistent, don't they? Now, both those cars are manual, but you can pay extra to have an automatic, and they are, of course, front-wheel drive. Then there's the plug-in hybrid versions. So they use a 1.5 litre turbocharged petrol engine mated to an electric motor, and you can get it with either 204 horsepower or 272 horsepower. Man over there with the facts. Anyway, where was I? Oh, plug-in hybrids obviously have an automatic gearbox as standard, and then there's the GTI and the R version, but I'll do separate reviews on those, so I'm not going to tell you about them here. One of the things I really love about the Golf is the fact that it's so easy to drive. So this is on the standard basic setup, and it deals with bumps really well. A very, very comfy car. Then there's a driving position, which I think is excellent. I think you get a really good view forward, and you don't get much of a blind spot from this because you've got this extra little window there. Also, the door mirrors are not too big, but not too small. The brakes are smooth. The only thing is that that automatic gearbox is a little bit jerky sometimes at manoeuvring speeds. If you have the back window, really, really good. In terms of manoeuvrability, steering is really, really light, and the turning circle is 11.1 meters, which is good. Though the turning circle on a Ford Focus is slightly better, and if you've got the surround view cameras, it does help. Look, you can see I've just got so much space. Would have been different if cars have been parked on that road, as they sometimes are, but the cameras really help with that. Right, now let's check out how well this car picks up from 40 miles an hour. So I'm approaching a dual carriageway, national speed limit, 70 miles an hour. So I'm going to floor it. 3, 2, 1, go! Slight pause, then we're off. Pause well, this engine. 70. That was actually pretty blooming good, that. The gearbox responded well enough. Bit of from the engine, but it wasn't too unpleasant. Quite a bit of road noise from these tyres. This surface is quite rough though, so it does really highlight that. But overall, really impressed with this. And it's very, very comfy as well. Like the seats. It's good for doing miles in this thing. It's also reasonably economical. So on a good run, I actually averaged 43 miles per gallon. The Golf is supposed to be the consummate all-rounder, so can it cope when you chuck it at some corners? Now, there's no sports mode to put it into, but I can put the gearbox into sport. In fact, I can change gears myself using the paddle, so let's give it a go. The thing I like about it is it might not be the sportiest feeling of these family hatchbacks, but it does everything you expect it to. So the amount you turn the steering wheel, it turns into the corner the exact amount you expect. Same with the brakes, you press them in a certain way and you'll slow down exactly as you expect. It's all very, very natural feeling, and that really gives you the confidence to push it quite hard. And with that in mind, it's also quite forgiving if you do go into a corner too quickly, cock it up and have to like brake or do something like that. Other cars might get a bit upset, but this one just seems to shrug it off. You can have fun in a Volkswagen Golf on a twisty road, even a middle of the road version such as this 1.5 petrol. Volkswagen says this version of the Golf will do 0 to 60 in 8.4 seconds. But let's find out for ourselves. There is no launch control, so I'm just going to lift off the brake and then floor the accelerator. Here we go. That's a pretty good launch. Although it wasn't launch, but you know what I mean. Time is 7.5. It's alright, isn't it? So then, what's my final verdict on the Volkswagen Golf? Should you avoid it, consider it, shortlist it, or just go right ahead and buy it? Well, I reckon you should shortlist it. There are competitors that are more spacious and more practical, and for a little bit extra money you can have a posher Audi A3, but it's still a great all-round family hatchback. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. Let me know if you agree with my verdict in the comments below. Click on the video windows for some more videos and on the CarWow logo to change your car the easy way. You can sell your current car through CarWow and buy your next one, and make sure you're paying a fair price for it. Thanks for watching.